Are these boots the secret behind Bukayo Saka's world-class performances? Meet the New Balance Furon V7 Pro. I've been putting these boots to the test for the last few months, and today I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about them and why they might be the most underrated speed boot on the market today. Now, before I elaborate on the design of the boots, let's take a look at some of the design specs. The boot is primarily made from HypoKnit, which is New Balance's knit technology. It also has a nylon outsole comprised of several chevron-shaped studs, an offset lacing system with this cord canopy for a larger striking zone, as well as this D-post print, a tongue tab with 3D grips for added grip, and a foam insole with New Balance's Infinity grip, which is just their anti-slip technology. When it comes to comfort, I'll go out on a limb and say this is probably the most comfortable speed boot that I have ever worn. I've heard loads of reviewers speak very highly of HypoKnit, and I can see why it is just super soft and super comfortable to wear. And not only that, the upper gets softer as you continue to play in them, and really the boots require like little to no breaking time as well. The lining and heel area of the boot is very well cushioned and padded, which makes the boot feel like it's hugging your foot rather than squeezing it. And the lockdown is also very good. I had no issues with like rollover or heel slippage. Now, in terms of width, I'd say these boots kind of favor someone with more of like an average to slimmer type of foot, but I do know that New Balance offers some colorways with a wide foot variation. Sizing wise, usually in Nike I wear 9.5 UK, same with Adidas, but with these boots I found I had to go half a size up, so usually I wear up 9.5 UK, but these are a UK size 10. And I think that is the way to go for most people if you're not used to wearing New Balance boots, so yeah, go half a size up. And the length of the boot is like pretty much perfect. There's no room in the toe area whatsoever. Now, the only thing I would say about these boots, which I say I maybe don't like, and maybe it's me just being a bit pedantic, is this kind of sock liner here. So when you put your boots on, it's a bit fidgety. You have to kind of like fiddle with it, so like make it like, you know, straighten up so it's not like folding or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't really take away from the performance of the boot, but that's just my kind of nitpick. In typical speed boot fashion, you get a very aggressive outsole made completely of chevron-shaped studs, which are there for traction when you're, you know, sprinting, changing direction rapidly, all those kind of like cutting movements basically. And if you pay close attention to the actual orientation of the chevrons, you'll be able to tell that the orientation kind of dictates the kind of part of your foot that would need the traction for the particular kind of movement that you'd be doing. So for example, if you look at the sides here, the chevrons are kind of pointing outwards, and that's for traction when you're making those kind of lateral movements. It's also very stiff from like the midfoot to the heel area, but flexes in the forefoot as you'd expect with a speed boot. And in terms of the actual performance of the outsole itself, it pretty much does everything that you need a speed boot to do, or you expect it to do. There's a good level of traction, the boot feels responsive, you always feel very light on your feet as well when you're maneuvering. And that's just because of the material that they've used for the outsole, as well as the boot just being light in general. I've had no issues with stud pressure while wearing the boots, but I would say that I wish the forefoot was a little bit stiffer just to provide that more kind of feedback responsive feel. It's still plenty of responsive, but I just wish it was a bit more aggressive. And for those wondering, no, I would not use the firm ground option on AG pitches. I just feel it's too aggressive and there's just be too much grip to the surface. Now let's focus on the upper. The upper of the boot is quite cushioned compared to other speed boots, making it a tiny bit thicker. The upper is still relatively thin, but because of the cushioning, I wouldn't say the touch on the ball is completely barefoot. I describe it more as a padded sensation while still offering a close touch on the ball, and it's also still quite minimalistic. I know you've got the D-post print, but it doesn't really add too much to the upper in my opinion. The larger strike zone is somewhat noticeable in my opinion. Controlling and just striking the ball just feels a little bit cleaner and uninterrupted. I wouldn't say it's anything like mind-blowing by any means, but it's something that is still quite noticeable in my opinion. As far as the 3D ridges, I really don't notice them at all. And I didn't notice it at first, but the kind of overall build of the boot slightly reminds me of the Nike Phantom Venom. Now, the only thing I would change about these boots in terms of just the upper, I would say I just want it to be a little bit more thin, but that's just more of like a personal preference. But I know that would also compromise on comfort, but hey, I just wish it was a bit more thinner, so it's more like inclined with like the kind of like speed boot feel. Over the past few months, I can happily say these have been probably one of my favorite boots to play in. They pretty much tick all the boxes when it comes to speed boots. They're comfortable, they're responsive, despite the upper being a bit more padded, you still get a close touch on the ball. And all in all, the boot just performs very well. Like the standout thing from the boot, I would say, is just the comfort. Like for me, when I wear football boots, I think comfort has to be the most important thing along with the fit. And in terms of comfort, absolutely no flaws whatsoever. If I could describe these boots in a sentence, I'd say they're like running shoes with studs on them. I've tried almost every speed boot on the market this year, and this is by far one of the best I've used. And if you're thinking about getting a pair, I would definitely recommend it. But if you'd like to hear my opinion about other football boots, just click here.